live now. We're on our faces. I'm on my webcam. You're on your dash screen now.
Oh, we're live? We're streaming already?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can cut out this bit for the YouTube video.
Okay.
Or not if I get lazy. So we'll see. So
I
right
mean, we can
now
also just
today.
restart.
So what was that?
Sorry, go.
Okay.
We can restart the stream as well if you want.
No, that's fine. Just cut it.
Okay.
Today we have Roomba rotations versus Jailbait. Roomba rotations is a mixture of the Div B East team that won last season in Salt Scale Moguls, and Jailbait is currently the number 2 team in the division. So it's kind of a high quality matchup with some possible seeding implications later down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. As well as it's important to note that the One Tricks, although in a safer position, are still in contention for the playoff spot as they are contesting like 5 or 6 other teams for playoffs right now. And of course, it's pretty clear that most of them will make it here. But if the One Tricks lose this game and the next few, they very much might not make it to the playoffs.
Right now, as we load up our game, I'm going to look at the draft screen. Not the draft screen, right now. Going into this game, Roomba did pick this map going to Volskaya Foundry, and they also banned out Braxis Holdout and Sky Temple. Meanwhile, Jailbait banned out Dragonshire and Cursed Hollow.
Yeah. And unfortunately don't have the actual draft as this is a replay, but we can still look at the teams and comment about the entire thing. So, Liddell, assuming that you have the loading screen up in front of you, I'd like to just talk about my first impressions, all right?
Yeah.
So, first off, just to go over stuff, we have on the side... oh, sorry, the loading screen just ended. People load in so I can see who there is. On the side of... there's no names here. Shit. Yeah, okay, so on the side of Jailbait, we have Red Team, which we have DB Smiley on Taronde, we have Kobo on Tassadar, we have Kothon on ETC, H2O on Zool, and Frag Stellar on Hanzo. And on the side of One Tricks, we have MJ Doom on Urel, we have Confused on Greybane, we have Anduin played by Iron, Alaric played by Idioms, and Synchrony on the Joanna. And so, Liddell, give me your first impressions about the teams, either one.
What I'm seeing right now is I'm kind of surprised to see the Taronde, honestly, out of DB Smiley. We don't see that a lot. From him, he usually plays a lot more Rhaegar, Malfurion, a lot more of the meta healers. So I'm kind of interested to see how that works out. Obviously going for a pick comp with the ETC and stun follow-up.
Yeah. My first impression is I also really like Jailbait's team a lot more, just off of like a glance. Like, the fact they got like 3 very, very highly contested hero picks. They got the Zool, the Tassadar, and the ETC. ETC, I think, being the most in-demand thing. Arguably, Joanna might be more. But to be able to get all 3 of those in a single draft is very impressive, especially with the Tassadar's heavy damage coming out as well.
It's obvious that meta picks were not a priority in the ban phase because arguably the top 4 meta picks in the game right now all got picked in this game. Joanna, ETC, Zool, and Tassadar.
Yeah. And as we see them we see Jailbait doing the double rotate now, just starting their camp on the bottom corner, while One Tricks is mimicking that, a very standard opening for both teams. Although we noticed that Jailbait's continuing with the double soak and bullying this mid lane, while Alaric is just pulling top to try and get that extra wave. But they're not going to get anything from Joanna.
Quick look at the talents. We're seeing the stun talent from Taronde. We see the damage talent 1 from Zool. And we see, is that auto attack build from the Tassadar?
Oh, we see a gank going on Alaric and ETC going down instead. Alaric just wandering off. And First Blood goes to One Tricks. It's a little aggressive with that tower dive there by ETC.
Yeah, obviously ETC, the squishier of the 2 tanks, and there's a lot of blow up on the side of Roomba, so that's kind of something he's going to have to be careful with all game.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, ETC, even EBS squish out the two tanks between Joanna and ETC, but ETC is also just a little squishy as a tank, especially to blow up if you can't get those, like, his ease off and get that value. So we see that the heal camp goes to the one tricks off of that kill, and now they start on their siege as the objectives pops up. It's typical siege timing. We should see it come additionally capped around the 10 to 15 second mark. And notice Jailbait has not started their camp, but we do have Zool soaking bot lane while Uriel is rotated up. So for maybe an early gank or some contention on the point.
Important to note, both Tassadar and Hanzo went auto attack builds, at least with the level 1 talents, into a Joanna, so that's an interesting decision. I don't know a lot about those two DPS, so I can't comment too much on that talent decision, but it does seem interesting to me at first glance.
Yeah, I agree. And we see Tassadar starting their siege camp now, as Zool is top lane to probably clear that. I really like this play because, especially on this map with such a long timer for objective pop, like, you really don't need to fight that instantly. You can instead take values other places on the map and then come down when you're ready to fight that long battle. So if this engagement goes long, it will be into Jailbait's favor. So, but we do see Hanzo getting picked, and he drops the turret too with Idioms picks up. That's huge. That might be enough actually just to let One Tricks finish this point uncontested.
Not the One Tricks, Roomba. Yeah, that's even if they lost wall and tower top, I still think the gank followed by the turret is huge. All waves are clear now, and really it's a 5v5 for the point with huge turret and heal camp advantage for the side of Roomba rotations.
Yeah, no, sorry, I've been calling. My bad. Yeah, a turret going down by Tassadar. Just getting some nice damage on Cawthorn there. Another turret going down by Greymane as Edwin pulls the Greymane out from the Hanzo damage. ETC going in on the Joanna. Joanna has the pop for D and just walks out. Kill camp going down by Roomba. Zool very deep, trying to get some heals, but he's very low. He will go down to the Uriel. Tassadar getting some poke damage now. ETC rooted in danger. He gets out, fine. They're still going in though. They're all very low. I think Jailbait has to get out here and Cawthorn manages to just squeaky leave. That was very dangerous by them. I think if Roomba collapsed a little better, they could definitely have gotten another pick or two if they were a little more organized.
I think we see one weakness in the side of Jailbait's draft, in that I don't think Tyrande can keep up heal-wise with Anduin over long periods of time.
No, for sure. Especially with Greymane Alaric and such heavy damage. And Uriel does actually a decent amount of damage too. We see another re-engage, this time it's a 5v5. All the toys have been used, so this will be a straight 5v5. This is probably Jailbait's best fight so far. There's a level advantage to Roomba, as Joanna taking heavy damage, and so does Uriel at the beginning of this fight. But Joanna manages to pop her D and just walk away. But as we know, the fight's starting to take longer, and now it's Cawthorn who's getting burned, although Synchrony goes down. As well as Zool, and then Anduin too. Greymane followed by a nice Cawthorn pick on ETC. And this looks like it disengages Uriel. Trying to get an aggressive minion there. Almost getting burnt by the Hanzo.
Something I think Roomba might have considered if they in that fight is they had a lot of time with the objective, and they could have backed off. They didn't have to engage there. They could have gotten turrets or camp and put pressure on the map, and then returned to the objective and kind of forced Jailbait to decide to alleviate the pressure in lanes or fight over the objective. But instead, 4 players fall, and Jailbait should be able to get the cap here with the turret advantage as the fight breaks out.
Although, it looks like the Roomba's not going to let this go easy. It's important to note the last fight that Roomba also let they stopped capping even after they won the last fight, and I think if they committed a little harder, they could have gone the objective without losing their 4 members last fight. But ults are up now as Zool using a slow ult, not the burn ult. As Joanna goes in deep with the Q, she's looking for a clear engagement. She's taking some heavy damage for the turrets. You can see dancing only hitting the Anduin. That's all he really needs to hit. As Synchrony getting quite low. Uriel popping her absorb ult to tank. And then it seems like there's a pause as both teams look to re-engage. A light bomb going off on Joanna as Tyrande falls, but Greymane's going to fall too. There's no healers, but Uriel is low, and so is Synchrony, and Alaric already used his burst. Looks like they're trying to back off as not a lot of damage coming. But the longer this fight goes, the less heals there are from with no Tyrande. All they really have to do is stall to win this fight. And it looks like they're happy to do that. A lot of members going to tap from Jailbait, and they're coming back with full health. This does not look good for Roomba. That's even with the healer, they cannot compete as Tyrande and both Greymane and Tyrande is up. Tyrande coming closer as Jarl gets picked with a nice root from Zool coming on to Joanna. Does she have her D? No, she's going to have to walk up, but Anduin does a nice pull as, oh, her D was up. And now Idioms is forced out of the fight by a nice Tassadar and Zool, with Joanna finally going down after so long. Iron now rooted. Will he go down? No, but the objective does go to Jailbait with a nice, clean victory.
Now that all the chaos has ended, I'm going to show a bit of my amateur casting here, and I've forgotten how to unhighlight a hero once you've highlighted them. Do you remember, Silver?
Is it Control O? Is it Shift O? No?
No.
Wow, we're really professionals here. As hotkeys are pressed. You just cast for now. I'll go find it.
Our helpful friend Materium in our chat is telling me it's O, but I am pressing O and then nothing is happening. So maybe just for this game we get to experience the joys of a large damage.
Yes, the really important things.
We see top fort falling with the protector here, which is quite a lot of value, honestly, but it's probably due to the fact that they got wall and tower going into that objective.
Felderoth, our teammate, is currently saying he's saying the hotkey in chat.
Well, clearly we know who the MVP of our team is and who the true leader is.
Yes. Thank you, Felderoth. What would we do without you?
It's clearly not Materium. Another amateur thing that I forgot to do before this game start, you've told me about before, is to disable Discord notifications, or the sound at least. And that's something I forgot to do, so...
Did you also press Control-Shift-O for...
I did do that, though, and I did press Shift-Z, so I'm at least that good.
Yes, we have some expertise here.
In this quick downtime, and I feel like our team may be trolling us now with how much they are posting in Discord and how much that sound is going off. Now that we have 10s, we have a bit of a downtime. Never mind, we don't, as UL almost gets caught.
Right in. Yeah. And certainly look for the engage to try and disengage that UL. I was a little hoping for a fight there. If we want to note about the toys, we have Cawthorn with a heal camp and DB Smiley with a turret, compared to... I think there's just one turret on the side of Roomba. I can't find who's holding it. Oh yes, Confused is holding one thing as Jailbait doing an aggressive push into the fort. DB Smiley taking a lot of damage there. Both the Life Bomb and the Joanna W miss stopping their engagement. I think Joanna used her ult there to try and keep them. And after that, they healed up and they're looking to push right back in. They might take mid-fort. A turret going down does some nice damage on the Synchrony, and this will hopefully take some fort file, although it's not as effective as ETC has done some damage, and now it's focusing him. He's at minus 20 armor, he's going to have to back up there, as now the turret's going down. The fort, once again, a little lower, but still not down.
As teams break off here, I'm going to just go over a couple of the alts picked by each team. We see Counter-Strike with the alt Alaric, we see Go for the Throat from Greymane, Blast Shield from Joanna, Light Bomb from Anduin, and Argent Defender with from UL. Do you see anything surprising with the side of Roomba's alts?
Nothing too with the alts. No, those are all fairly typical. Go for the Throat is a little unusual, but there's no super big tank on the side of Jailbait to go through to really make a lot of value from. Again, as we mentioned, ETC is not the tankiest of tanks. You know, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially with a lot of squishies with Tyrande healing. There might be options for it. And we start to see a fight breaking up, but it looks more like a skirmish. I think nothing interesting to happen. No objectives are really being met as the objective spawns top.
On the side of Jailbait, we see Black Hole, we see Skeletal Mageless, we see Starfall from Tyrande, we see Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo, and we see Mosh Pit from ETC.
Yeah.
Not a lot of surprising things, although Zool does choose to go for Skeletal Mages over the AoE.
Yeah, I know you like that one a lot. So just to interrupt you, we do see that Jailbait is 16, so instead Roomba is electing just to take the bottom fort as top. They can't really contest the top as they've already taken the top fort, and instead they're trying just to fort for a wall, and they're letting time pass while they take 16. I think that was a great play by Roomba Rotations.
I really like that, yeah. Trading a fort for a wall is a good trade any day. And
although they are still not 16 because they're all in one lane, and they gave up heal. So a fort for a wall and objective might not be as good of a trade as it seems.
I definitely agree there, although if they engage down 16, they probably wipe and lose objective anyways. So if you consider them giving up objective either way, then getting a fort for it is not the worst thing in the world.
I agree, but I think if they properly soaked all the lanes, they might have been able to get 16 and contest that. But that's no guarantee. I think they picked the safe and smart option. Another thing they could have done. So we see them just getting the free pick on the Hanzo. The Roomba's doing what we oftentimes see with this objective, which I guess makes the trade even more worth it that they just did, is you just push past the Punisher, the Protector, because two members are in it, they can't do much damage, they don't have that much peels. You know, you still have to choose what you're sacrificing when you put two people into the Protector. And so what we often see is teams just push past it, get a few picks, say, what are you going to do now? It's a 5v3, as it is in this situation with Hanzo and Tronde down. And now they can't really do much with the Projector. They are getting the bot well, because that's where the next objective will be spawning, but you're just not getting a lot of value off of this objective, which they spent so long trying to get. You know?
I wonder if ETC is the right person to have in the Protective for the side of Jailbait.
Just running off. So, Liddell, as we're looking at most of the talents here, do you have any talents in this downturn while they bully the Projector that you want to comment on?
We see full W build from Zool, which is expected. Honestly, it's kind of his go-to build right now, in my opinion. We see full auto attack from Hanzo, which I'm not sure if I like, because it's hard to get the reliable auto attacks off of Joe with the blind, and the stun and the disruption that she has.
I want to point out that Alaric's 13 talent is Pure Malice, which is an interesting pickup. We often see, he has 0 deaths, so we often see Marco Rashak done for the infinite scaling possibilities. But I just find it interesting that with 0 deaths, I guess he's feeling a lot of pressure to not take that, or maybe he just wants the instant reward of 40%, as that is a lot of sadism that could be gathered very quickly.
Or he could just not trust his teammates and thinks they're going to get picked all game.
Yeah. Wow. Adium's really hitting his teammates. It's the only solution. So we see a nice wall coming to disengage from Kobo as he queues to just try and hit someone who doesn't hit anyone. It is worthwhile pointing out that Testar is going the Q build. We've, in my experience in Div B, I've seen Testar go almost every build and get wins. I think it's just in a very strong place right now. Yeah. So
Silva, right now Jailbait has the slight lead. They have a 1 fort lead over the side of Roomba Rotations. What does Roomba need to do differently to start getting value in this game?
Well, I think they need to start picking the Tacit up. I think that would help give them a lot of value, and then if they could pick the ETC too, that would be even better. You know?
Well, that's a great strategy, Silva. I wonder how they executed that.
Yeah. They get the free heal camp off of that too, and maybe they'll get some forts. I think as long as they start putting pressure here, especially with the man down, they should be able to get stuff. I am very interested to see how they scale comparatively, because I think they might start turning team fights with a level 20 Alaric and a level 20 Greymane versus the Hanzo and Tassadar. Of course, the Tassadar is very, very strong right now, but I don't think the Hanzo Tassadar does quite as much damage as the Alaric Greymane.
I could be wrong about this, but I do believe the auto attack Hanzo doesn't scale quite as well as some of the upper builds. Just for the potential at 16 with the Q piercing or the scatter shot piercing is quite strong.
Yeah, I think the auto attack though on Hanzo, as you see an ETC gank, will he go down? Yes, he will. This is what I meant by the pressure. But a 4-man dance, will anything come of this? And it does not appear as they get the free pick once again, and there's a huge stagger now. As Tassadar just coming back as EC goes down, Alaric clearly showing his value as he's getting some nice W's and picks.
Yeah, I would say that it's going to be hard for Jailbait to kill anyone when Tassadar is not there. I think Tassadar is just so much of their damage, especially the damage necessary to kill people during a 4-man mosh. That would have just been devastating if Tassadar had been in that opportunity, but sadly he was not.
No, I agree. Although it is important to note that 20s are out, and as we saw, Death Mosh was one of them. We also have the upgrade to Joanna's initial ult, Radiating Faith. We see Valiant's Legacy for some additional damage from the Anduin, which is an interesting pick considering I think they already have quite a lot of damage, but a little more never hurts. We have the Sephirim from Yrel, looking to be unstoppable, and we have Hunter's Blunderbuss from Greymane. And as typical, we see the other ultimate coming out from Alaric, getting the Deadly Charge, letting him dive his opponents.
Yeah, not a lot of surprising stuff there, I would say.
Not at all. We also see our teammates being unhelpful, which is not good. Liddell, do you want to as we see Jailbait just bullying their way onto the point and pushing Roomba rotations off at 99%. Do you want to read off the ultimates from Jailbait?
Well, from the side of Jailbait, we see the Force Barrier from Tassadar, which increases range and reduces cooldown, I believe. And then we see the upgrade from Zul's ult. We see auto attack level 20 from Tyrande. We see the upgraded Dragon Arrow from Hanzo, Play the Game. And we see Death Mosh as we saw already. And we'll see again.
Death Mosh might be coming again, yeah, as Light Bomb already goes out. It wasn't needed. Ando had pulling the Greymane out, so that Death Mosh did not hit anyone. As Joanna's so deep, but that doesn't matter if she's Joanna. It's so much health. Zul getting pulled in, taking heavy damage. He's just trying to lifesteal a little bit. Alaric playing quick D, and then, he hits him with the counterattack, and then Zul will go down. Tyrande caught out with Alaric pulling and killing again. And this is quite a clean kill for Roomba. And they're getting a level 21 protector with 3 people down. They might just push bot for win.
Our teammates are talking so much in Discord, I am actually thinking about possibly leaving the channel altogether. So that's a quick update on that side. We see Yrel top lane as she split pushes, gets some XP, and pushes that lane out a little bit as they go for a bottom keep.
Yeah, although, if they're going for the long game, I think Yrel doing that is smart. But, I think this is such a clear win thought that what Yrel's doing is not going to matter. I don't see how Jailbait recovers from this. Although Greymane going very low, very quick. Maybe Tassadar can pull out some shenanigans and get a nice kill. ETC quickly running back, trying to shove off the 2 back line. But the Punisher is doing so much damage. There's still 2 people in it. I think this is game.
And it is game as ults come out from everyone, but it's not enough to stop the attack of Roomba rotations bottom.
There goes game to Roomba rotations. GG.
Right. As I swap over to the stats screen real quick.
Anything jump out on you?
Sorry. There we go. Well, we see Alaric being the story of the damage on the side of Roomba rotations, doing more than double, or almost double the that of anyone closest to him. And then we see, I mean, Tassadar and Hanzo put out a bunch of damage, but we see the lack of healing from Tyrande compared to Anduin. Anduin just doing more than double the healing at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to note that a few months ago, Alaric was the be-all to end-all of bans. And he sort of just faded away after a very slight nerf to, I think, his Q. And it's very interesting to see that, people still playing it, idioms, showing why it was banned and why it might still need to be banned. He was doing work this game, and personally, I hate facing Alarics. They're so hard to counter. They can do so much damage so fast. And it's important to note that Tassadar versus Alaric, when it comes to damage, Tassadar tends to be a little more pokey than Alaric, and when it comes to DPS, typically the burst DPS, where you're trying to just kill someone with your burst, tend to have less DPS because you're putting it in more meaningful places, and you're not really spending it a lot in those early team fights, poking, prodding, lowering people. Not to say that's not useful, but just that might explain the stat difference, and that 51,000 is probably a lot more important placed in general than the 77,000 from Tassadar.
I would agree with that. I'm going to take a quick second to turn off all of my sound notifications, which for some reason Discord makes a sound when you do that, so I apologize. Right. You're going to get a nice cacophony of sounds real quick.
It's also important to note that Lark did not die and had 140 sadism by the end of that game. So clearly showing the value of not getting picked as well. I'm sure his KDA will heavily reflect that in the next update. But yeah, I think also it's important to note with the Tyrande pick from TP Smiley, as her own healer, constantly states like she's only really good if your team has or is facing a big tank like Deathwing, like not Joanna maybe, but Joanna has the blinds, which like reduces a lot of the value from that.
I think
Diablos is something we especially play like Tyrande against, just because you can get that value of auto attacks so much easier.
Yeah, I would say Joanna doesn't quite fit that big tank mold because she's kind of in and out of the fight. She's constantly up and then back and then blind and then stunned. So it's like she's all over the place. Whereas like a Diablo is kind of stunning someone who's in on the target and is kind of in your, like within Tyrande's attack range that entire time, basically. Whereas Joanna's doing things to go out of the attack range, blinding, stopping the auto attack. So it's kind of less consistent feedback from the others.
I think I do think that you were right by saying like a major reason that Jailbait lost, especially those later team fights, was the value from those blinds. Like they reduced the heals, they reduced the damage by a significant margin with everyone going the auto attack builds. Just a lot of value from that show.
So game 2, we're gonna see. Let me get to the link here. We're gonna see Roomba picking the map once again, going to Towers of Doom. Just go here. So why don't I get this all set up, Silva? Why don't you talk a bit about the repercussions of that win and what it means for Div B East?
So that win means a lot to the people who are against Jailbait and to One Tricks. So as mentioned earlier, One Tricks is what DB Smiley, the statistician of NGS, who also is on Jailbait, states is they are almost in a bubble team, although they are positioned a little better. They are at risk of losing playoffs. Right now, the ranks between number 9 to roughly number 5 or even 4th place in the leaderboards is in contention. And of course, people don't want to be number 9 because that doesn't let them be in playoffs. But having a better seed can do a lot for your playoff chance, especially if it means you're not facing one of the better teams your first week. Or you can if you even get to 4th space in that bubble, you can choose map, or I think having a higher seed also lets you choose map pick or first pick on the first edition of thing instead of a coin flip during play. So correct, I don't 100% know if that's true or not, but I'm pretty sure. So having that higher seed is really beneficial, just so you can face easier teams and get that. So that's why One Tricks really needs these wins, and they don't even need to dominate. They just need a few wins and a few points to actually make it past the bubble and at least avoid being knocked out for playoffs. Now, Jailbait, on the other hand, is in contention for first seed of the division. So they are in contention with Tricky Gooses and Tiny Dancers, which is us. If they win the next 2 games and Tiny Dancers drops one, they can potentially get first seed, assuming they win their next few games. But now they also have Tricky Gooses being 1 point ahead of them. So they're going to have to hope that the other 2 people contesting also drop games in the future to come back.
Important to note, Roomba also is coming off a kind of upset loss to Boogan Squad, which really put a big turnaround on their season because they were so hot before that. I'm pretty sure they lost their first 2 games to us in the first game of the season, but after that they were winning, I think, almost every matchup. They were dominating teams, and Boogan really put an end to all of that with a 2-0 domination over them. And so this is a really big comeback win in the next week.
Yeah, which is also really weird because Boogan then lost 0-2 to House of Shez, which is the lowest ranked seed in the league at the moment. So that really puts into question where both Bugin and Uncomfortably Numb by extension, sorry, not Uncomfortably Numb, Roomba Rotations. That's right. I keep on mixing the names up. Roomba Rotations rank in the division. I'm sure it gives a nightmare to anyone trying to power rank these people.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Division B East is that everyone has been shown that they can lose to anyone and win against anyone for the most part. And so there's been a lot of upsets throughout the season. The meta, so to speak, or the power rankings have changed a lot week to week, which is what you want in Division. That really keeps things interesting, keeps people watching.
I agree.
We are in Towers of Doom now. It was Roomba Rotations that took us to Towers of Doom.
Which means that that Jailbait got first pick. We see Joanna this time coming out on Jailbait, this time played by Cawthorn. We see Anduin by DB Smiley, playing a more meta healer. Kobo on Falstead with H2O on Urel again. And Hanzo played by Fragstiller. On the side of Roomba Rotations, we have Synchrony on ETC. Iron, who is playing the Tyrande this time, which is interesting. The Tyrande is in both games this time on the other side. We have Idioms on Li Ming and Confused playing Raynor. And then MJ Doom on Leor. So as I sort of mentioned, we have a healer swap. What's your opinion on that?
It's interesting. We also have a tank swap, for that matter too. Obviously Roomba going for the pick comp. From my experience, they're in a happy place when they're playing a pick comp. So I think that works well for their playstyle. But once again, if Jailbait can extend fights, make them go longer and longer, it's going to be hard for the keep up in healing.
DB Smiley getting an early pick right off the bat. The ETC stun followed up by the Tyrande Tyrande stun. Too much.
I also really love the Ming addition to the stun follow-up, just because it's so much damage that can blow up almost anyone on their team except for Joanna.
Yeah. I also think it's important to note if we look at level 1 talents that it is an Exterminator rare. They're going to be taking these camps very fast. You see Synchrony already waiting and anchoring for their camp. They're looking for a pick. They're going to get on Joanna. She's going to take substantial damage, but she's going to pop her tray and just sort of walk away. Now, ETC taking heavy damage. Synchrony almost dead. Joanna coming in from the side looking for a slow. They're not going to get enough damage, though, and he's just going to walk out as Anduin pulls Cawthorn out of the way. But I think that's a good fight for Jailbait. They managed to save their camp there, which Roomba is very much looking.
I'd agree. I would almost, if I was the side of Roomba, I would never even bother stunning Joanna all game.
Oh, we see another great stun for Tyrande on Kobo. Just to finish commenting about a few interesting talents that are noteworthy, we see Wingman coming up on Falstead. He'll be going getting Bribe, and therefore taking some sneaky camps maybe. And we have Li Ming looking to go W build, although she might still go Calamity build. We'll be interested to see which one she goes. We see a lot of skirmishes coming out as Synchrony once again is low. Again, as we commented last time, Joanna is a very tanky front line, while ETC is not comparatively. So we're really seeing that as the team fights come out. And again, we also see the lack of Tyrande heals as ETC forced to back while Anduin fully healing his team to the max.
We see some really hyper-aggression from Roomba here. They really want to leverage a lead early and run with it. Almost to the aggression of risking getting picked themselves at times.
Yeah. Cawthorn already looked almost dead twice, but getting out by the skin of his teeth. Yeah. So, I do not think, though, I think it's important to comment, I'm not surprised that both Joanna and ETC are picked here. I'm more surprised about the Anduin Tyrande as we see the camp getting into the wall of Roomba. Giving that up. Just because both tanks are, I think, the best two tanks in the league right now, although there's 4 tanks you see often. Both Urel and Leor are coming down as Urel trying to engage, but nothing really coming at. Cawthorn taking a little heavy damage as Yorick still in the front line. More zoning than anything. EDC tried to do something bot lane, but he pushed off too. Just a lot of back and forth right now with some pokes coming out. Ooh, a lot of damage on the Fragstiller from Li Ming. A lot of damage. A nice W landed. As now it's going to look like Anduin getting caught out and taken down once again. Roomba now just cleaning up a little, forcing them out, and Tyrande's capping at the back. Hanzo getting a nice stall though. and Fragstall really showing us the value on Handstone. Playing both games as Tronde finishes the cap, and 2 points go into the favor of Roomba rotation with only 1 going to Jailbait.
One thing to note, you know, I think Jailbait's gonna have a hard time finishing off kills because you have Falstead, who's quite low on damage compared to other traditional assassins, and then you also have Hanzo, who has the high potential of the W build, but it's kind of unpredictable damage. It's not something you're gonna get every single time he throws out a scatter shot. You have the potential to do half of someone's health, but you also have the potential to completely whiff and not do much damage at all. So I think you're kind of putting yourself in a hard situation where you can reliably secure kills on the side of Jailbait.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's also important to note that, like, although Urel does, like, okay damage, she's not like a thrall. She's not going to be, like, soloing people by any means, as we see Jailbait walking a few pumpkins into the bottom fort. Yeah, I 100% agree with Liddell. That's a good analysis. I really don't think they have enough damage on Jailbait. As we see Urel getting caught out as she tries to do a bottom gank. Leoric going a little too far, trying to look up help, and he's going to back out as the rest of the Jailbait comes to force him out.
We've kind of seen constant brawling ever since the start of this game between the two four-mans. They're really not having much of a macro eye. They're kind of brawling out bottom lane and letting the solo lane pick up the mid and top out.
Yeah, although I think that's perfectly fine in Roomba. They even want that because I think Leoric double soaks way better than Urel does, as you can see by the fact that Roomba's slowly getting ahead in XP. Although Urel coming down for a gank, you can see Wing to interrupt the Urel, but she's going to jump out to Tronde. Tronde's getting low with the Falstead, sort of poking at her with the lightning. Although everyone from Roomba's going to walk out. Just not a lot of follow-up damage off of that nice separation. Yeah, and sort of build on also the point you made earlier about not a lot of damage from well, after the fight, as you see Joanna going in as they're trying to do an early cap on mid. Falstead poking up the Tronde once again, but they're going to be pushed back by the Rainer. EDC getting a nice triple stun with his Q. Now Urel and Joanna trying to retreat as Anduin separated. They're going to get out just fine. Limbing sparing the cap as Jailbait is very thrusted backwards. I don't know if they're going to be able to interrupt this in time. Oh, if they do. Limbing tries to Q instead. Jailbait back in the fight. Urel taking some heavy damage from Rainer. As ETC though, the real one getting weak. As Urel going in, seeing the low Leoric and ETC. ETC getting a nice pick on Joanna. She drops her trade, walks out. Ando was trying to heal. Try to cap. And we see a lot of people low from Roomba. Well, everyone full health from Jailbait. Except for Joanna. Joanna needs some heals. Idioms try to cap, taking a little poke damage from the W. Joanna once again going in, nice pop with the trait, gonna interrupt the stun. And the cap still goes to Li Ming on rotations. So the point I wanted to make quick as we see Roomba taking the camp from Jailbait is that, you know, Tronde might not have a lot of heals, but if Jailbait doesn't have the most amount of damage, that mitigates that problem. As well as the fact that 3 members from Roomba rotations have their own self heal. Interesting for that. So you see Pumpkins being walked in to bot lane fort. 3 go in. It looks like it's gonna go down here. As Jailbait loses a fort. Can't really do much as Falstead's top. And a nice dance coming in from ETC, but Joanna's just gonna do Joanna things, tank it, take a light bomb, and then walk out. We do see 5 men coming down from rotations. I guess going out on ETC is going to take a little bit of core damage as ETC gets low. Falstead trying to do as much damage with Hot Hands, so ETC finally will go down after all that. And that is a 1-for-0, but they also lost a fort.
It appears they're not done as Jailbait wants to take this fort right now.
Yeah, I mean, in this map especially, it's so easy to snowball and just take multiple forts to keep the other team on the back end while you cap. So I think it's a really good idea from Jailbait just to try and make sure they don't like slip away from this game. Cap the bot, especially with the bot thing now spawning. You know, that's such a bad position to have both forts behind you ready to attack you. You have nowhere to retreat really safely. But you know, with Li Ming Rainer, they have especially Executor Rainer, they can clear the lanes, they can provide a lot of poke pressure. Joanna going back, Li Ming going back, looks like she's going to be the one capping, as 4 members here are going to be able to push off Jailbait from helping them from capping. And as the bottom spawns and Leoric goes there, I think Roomba gets the 5 points here. Urel looking to do something from behind, but There's not a lot you can do as the point goes into the favor of Roomba. Hands are now doing a little decent damage to bot Fort, and when taking a shot, same with Joanna as they're forced to back out. They're now doing a 5v5, but Joanna is under the bot Fort. Oh, the Gust and Hanzo ult not synchronized. There's a nice stun Gust there. Very impressive, but not very effective when the Gust is away from your team. You're all still looking for a little poke as Leoric leaving, saying adios, it's time to solo lane. Him and Pulse are mid. And once again, you know, I mentioned it was a good idea to try and take back bot Fort, but with Roomba defending it so staunchly, like, what do you think the play should be, Liddell?
I think you're in a tough spot. I think you maybe want to get some poke of Hanzo bottom and maybe get the top camp and keep getting XP, catch up in XP and get the same talent here.
Yep, we actually see Falstead getting the top camp, as you mentioned that.
Roomba has such good poke with Lee Ming that I really think it's a hard time. Oh, I'm gonna let you
dance
talk
on Anduin under Fort. No, that's not. There's not much to say. He's just going down nice and clean. H2O trying to get this Fort. I don't know if it's worth it though, as it looks like he might go down here, and he does. 2 for 1 and a Fort. Like, yes, they got the Fort back, and that's really good for Jailbait. But the pumpkins are coming down bot. They look like they're gonna pass by, and Roomba is in right in the position to take another Fort from Jailbait, as Jailbait loses 3 points here too. 3 points, 2 members for a Fort. I do not think that was a good trade, especially with Roomba taking the pumpkins. Looks like they might just push and take the Fort right back.
Alright, well, 4 levels later, I'm going to take this downtime to hopefully talk about talents, as there was about 4 levels of straight action there ever since level 10 hit. We're seeing Wave of Force from Ming, we see Rainer's Raider from Rainer, and we see Entomb from Leoric, Smosh from ETC, and Starfall from Renara.
We see Hanzo ult whiffing and Synchrony getting low, but they did manage to take the Fort, as Jailbait finally pushing them back. A light bomb and a nice root from Anduin. It's probably going to cause the trying to die. No, she's just healing so much. Oh, she almost escapes by the skin of her teeth. Synchrony now getting very low on the back end of running away. It looks like he might escape. No, but Urel's going after the Rainer instead. Oh, Synchrony diving back in to get a stun. Joanna getting very low. Urel popping her ult. Nice job on Roomba not attacking her, as Urel diving the towers. It's very risky, but Leoric goes down. Li Ming trying to jump in and do some work, but she just doesn't have enough damage. It looks like that one of these towers will, or both these towers will go to Jailbait, but keep in mind they lost bot prior to this, so they're only going to get 3 free. Liddell, did you catch if both towers went to Jailbait, or did only one? I wasn't paying attention to the bit.
Based on
both.
Map, I believe both did.
Yeah, because no, one did, because because they took 4 damage at the beginning, then another 3, so that's 7. Okay, so 1 for 1, but again with bot Fort in the favor of Roomba, that's 5 for 3 damage. This game's still heavily in the favor of Roomba, but it looks like, are they doing boss?
No, I think they were just checking it maybe.
Yeah. That would have been very aggressive with Jailbait.
Alright, hopefully we get some more downtime to talk about the ults on the side of Jailbait. We see Ardent Defender from Urel, we see Gust from Falstead, we see Blessed Shield from Joanna, we see Light Bomb from Anduin, and we see Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo.
Ooh, a whiff of an Entomb from MJ Doom. It was nice to try to catch someone under turret, but completely missed. And now it looks like Urel starting boss. Jailbait is in fact going to do boss. They see everyone bot. They're going to sacrifice the Fort bottom to get to boss mid. I don't think this is good because, yes, they're getting 4 points and they're potentially denying the boss from Jailbait. Jailbait's denying the boss from Roomba. But, you know, if Roomba gets all 3 here, or if they get bot in 2, if they get all 3, they will win here. But even if they get bot and the pumpkins, that'll put Jailbait in a really awful spot, especially because now they can't really contest the bot tower because their bottom Fort is gone.
I think they're just going for the top 2 here and kind of doing damage mitigation. The only way of winning this game at this point is to really put Roomba on tilt and keep the deaths up, start taking towers, and that's really their only pathway to victory at this point.
Yeah, Tronde trying to interrupt that the top channel, but just not in time. So 7 health left on the side of Jailbait. Things are not looking good. They're once again going bot lane to try and contest that, but Roomba is here once again to mitigate that. But like, this map's very difficult because there's not a lot of objectives Jailbait can take outside of trying to recap this bottom Fort. Again, see Urel double soaking, although she's coming down as the York goes up. High five. Who ships passing in the night? As we just see some poke coming down bottom.
Yeah, I think Roomba is in a spot where they just have to play passively for the rest of the game. They just have to defend this bot for it. Leo can get soaked.
Ooh, a false dead pick, but Anduin pulls him out, but he didn't tell Urel as Urel jumps in, taking some heavy damage from the force. Joanna now taking heavy damage, stunning the ETC. Will they have enough damage to kill him? No, they're still taking fort damage. Joanna's getting very low, taking heavy damage. ETC stunning the Anduin. Anduin taking half his health before the Gust is used to get out. And that's going to be a few ults for a few ults, basically. Almost all the ults out, though, from Jailbait. They have all of them on cooldown, while both the Entomb's up, Raynar's Valkyrie's still up. A stun coming out on Urel. Urel's going to go down so quick. Nice stun and nice follow from rotations. And with the 2 shrines coming up, if Jailbait loses both of them, they just lose.
Yeah, if I was the side Jailbait, I wouldn't even risk it bottom lane. I would just focus on the fight up here. Hopefully you get a wipe on them and then start rolling things. But, taking a risk to fight under tower like that is such a disadvantage. Really put them in a tough spot. Level disadvantage.
Yeah, they didn't even have a talent advantage or anything else. I think they were just getting a little desperate. Hanzo trying to interrupt. They know they need both of those, but Fragstill are getting caught up by DTC, but there's going to be no follow-up damage as Anduin caps his side. He's going to get 2 damage, but more importantly, deny that cap from Roomba rotations. This game is going to go a little longer, but there's a cap going bot. That'll be 3 damage, and if that goes through, that will be enough damage for this one cap to be end of game. Synchrony taking some heavy damage with the stun from ETC, and he will go down with no life bomb. Hanzo missing his ult as DB Smiling taking heavy damage with the root on ETC. Layman chasing him down as the tomb comes out on Hanzo and falls dead, but both of them just jump right out. H2O just sort of deep trying to peel for his allies, but not doing it very successfully, as Falstead managing to interrupt only one of them, or none of them, as Lehman capping will be game. GG.
So that is a somewhat of an upset with Jailbait not losing a single match so far this season. That will be their first loss, and it comes with a domination.
Yeah, and so just to talk about a few things interesting I found with this game as we look at the stats, Liddell. Something important to know, as I mentioned with the level 1 talent, is Falstead did go bribe. And as you notice, Jailbait was sort of stuck with Falstead bot the entire game, right?
Yeah.
And as for people who don't know, the bribe needs minion kills to get those stacks. And if you're double soaking, you get a lot more minion kills, therefore stacks. And Falstead's bribe is unique as it increases his W's damage for every time you bribe an enemy. So I think the fact that they were only getting half the minions that Falstead ideally should be really hampered Falstead's damage, which is what they needed. They needed more damage to get the wins, to get those kills.
Yeah, I think ideally they want to do a 4-man rotate with the on the side of Jailbait, but Roomba kind of forced them into a fight bot constant. I mean, we talked about throughout the game, I could barely get the talents out there because it was just constant fighting from level... there was actually barely any time when there was no fighting going on, and so that really played into Roomba's game plan because Leorc is just a soak master and crushes Urel in that area, and he's almost ungankable too, so he can do it without almost any fear of getting ganked and losing XP. And so the 4-man is just having so much confidence bottom, controlling the camps, controlling the bottom tower as we saw, and so it really wasn't Jailbait's game plan that was executed at all there.
I really wish I saw from Jailbait, though, a perspective of a swap between Urel and Falstead. I think the Hanzo, although a little lighter on damage, especially early game, is fine enough to kill minions, especially if they took a minion killing taunt, or the W build I think actually does fairly good damage to the minions. And the front line of Joanna Urel, ETC is not breaking through that front line. Even if he catches the Anduin, Urel has more peels to help out. And that would let the Falstead double soak, which I think he does a little bit better, but more importantly, he gets more bribe stacks, which is really important. And that would have helped with their damage late game, as well as mitigated the losses, the pressure early game.
Yeah, so in terms of repercussions, that puts Jailbait, I believe, at the 3rd place now, and Roomba rotations moving up the ranks quite a lot, making an interesting finish for the season as really we see Jailbait, Tricky Gooses, and Roomba rotations all in the running for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place.
And that really shows how close these runnings are. As Roomba, a domination on Roomba from a little bit of an upset, is just puts them right into the contention for fighting for the first few spots. They no longer have to worry about getting knocked out of the playoffs entirely. Even. And yeah. So, is there any talents or stats you want to comment about before we're end this building?
Just as we move back to our caster screen here, in terms of the talents, I think it's fairly predictable. Wave of Force was a bit interesting from Ming, but I guess she wants to use it as displacement and setting up possible ganks, especially with the level 20 upgrade, which we never got to, but that's quite a huge displacement.
It's also important to note that Ming went Calamity build, so I think Wave of Force is typically used there as your up close and personal, as well as its instant damage, right?
Right.
So if someone's low, she could just press R and kill him.
I'm not sure if I love the Scattershot build from Hanzo. I just think Q is, especially when you're the main damage dealer, you're the carry, so to speak. I think Q is a lot more predictable damage, which is kind of what they needed, especially onto the ETC. So those are my comments there, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the fact that you said they had low damage for the beginning is something that we saw again and again in the team fights. As ETC always lived with a little bit of health that like a true tank burner wouldn't let him do. I think it's also important to note that Jailbait also doesn't have a lot of hard CC for that ETC, which is a really good counter to. Yes, they have the Anduin route and the Hanzo ult and the Uriel slows and Joanna slows. But outside of the Hanzo and Joanna ult, they really don't have a lot of hard CC. And the Joanna ult is more, I find, an interruption than a CC. And I'm not even talking about the Mosh, And the Hanzo ult as well is more of an engaged reaction thing than an Uther would be, or if they had instead of Uriel, or a Kale would be instead of Falstead. I think they would have had a lot more answers to that aggression that the EDC was doing, because EDC was very much just unchecked the entire game.
I would agree. I think definitely one short side of not seeing drafts. You don't know how teams got to the comp that they got to. There could have been well-timed bans. There could have been pressure or pick stolen that really put Jailbait in these positions in which they had to build weaknesses into their team comp. To give some fairness to them, some things may have happened in draft that was unprepared, and these teams go back quite a ways. I think even before Season 8, they've been long-lasting teams. So they have a bit of history there, so they may know each other quite well in terms of the bans and how to draft against each other.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, they might have also had some target bans, like there's no Lark this game, which might have been banned, among other things.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
All right, well, thanks for joining the Canadian Corner. This has been Roomba Rotation versus Jailbait. Roomba Rotation taking a 2-0 domination. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
Till then.